Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. This is lecture number 7 and 8 both of this course, phase transformation in materials. So today's content are like this: thermodynamics of solution. Actually, we have started this topic, thermodynamics of solution, already, because basically we are concerned with alloys, so we are concerned with solid solutions rather than liquid solution. Huh? And already we have seen the expression of free energy for an ideal solution, if you remember in the earlier lecture. Right? Then chemical potential expression, already we have seen that, again we'll see. Huh? Then factors upon which delta H mix depends. So this is very interesting actually, because we know that delta H mix is not equal to 0 for real solution. Right? So how this delta H mix come into picture for a real solution? Whether for a ideal solution, we know that it is 0. Okay. Anyways, then expression of delta H mix we'll see finally for a real solution. Basically, this is for a real solution. For real solution. And last one is free energy expression of regular solution. Okay, we'll finally derive the expression for the free energy of a real solution or regular solution. Some people call regular, some people call real solution, right? Because already we have derived the expression for an ideal solution. What is the free energy of it? Okay. So free energy at constant temperature and pressure expression for binary solution. Okay. So here it means we want to find out the G, that is free energy, but keeping the temperature and pressure constant. And we have a binary system. Binary system means two component system. Two components are there. One component is A, for example, and the component is B. Consider A and B both are metals. Right? So if you remember in the previous lecture, we have seen how free energy depends, or free energy depends upon what factor basically. So free energy depends upon temperature, pressure, as well as the composition, right? And we have derived the expression for that, if you remember. Huh? And so I can say now for ideal solution, delta H mix is equal to 0. We know that, right? Because I think from the thermodynamics, you know this answers why delta H mix for an ideal solution is 0, right? Anybody remember that? Anybody remember why delta H mix for an ideal solution is 0? Nobody remember about those bond strength, bond energy. When you mix two different components and you make a solution, what happens to bond strength, bond energy? Okay, anyways, we'll see that. Huh? So for an ideal solution, we know that delta H mix is 0, right? Change in enthalpy of mixing is 0. That's why we understand that is an ideal solution. Okay. And we know all solutions are not ideal. That simply means for all solution, delta H mix will not be equal to 0, right? And delta H mix is a part of free energy G, right? Because we know that delta G mix is equal to delta H mix plus T delta, sorry, minus T delta S mix, right? So delta H mix is the important term over there. But if it is an ideal solution, that is fine. But if it is not an ideal solution, since all solutions are not ideal, then delta H mix have certain values. So we'll see that. Today's topic is on that. Huh? So we know from the previous lecture, change in free energy, that is dZ, for solution is given by this. We already derived this expression, if you remember. Huh? dZ is equal to minus S dt, where this is the temperature term basically, plus VdP, this is the pressure term basically, plus summation of I is equal to 1 to N mu I dxi. Right? If you remember, this mu I is the chemical potential of I components and xi is the mole fraction. Okay. So this is the expression for dz. Then at constant temperature and pressure, this above expression will be what? Obviously, it is very simple. So as I told, that means you can see the free energy depends upon temperature, pressure, and the composition here, this part. So if temperature part will be 0, so this part will be 0. If pressure part will be 0, so this part will be 0. So dz will be equal to only summation of mu I 1 to n. Sorry, summation of I is equal to 1 to n mu I dxi, right? So I have written here dz when temperature is constant, pressure is constant. This is the expression, is equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n mu I dxi. Okay. Now, for any binary system, we know that suppose we are considering binary system of A and B, and we know that if XA is the mole fraction of A and XB is the mole fraction of B, so XA plus XB is equal to 1, obviously, right? So binary system, we can write what? This expression dz at constant temperature and pressure, right? So since one component is A, so we can write dz at constant temperature and pressure is equal to mu A dxa, obviously, plus mu B dxb. Very simple, huh? Chemical potential of A dxa plus chemical potential of B dxb. The mole fraction of A, this is mole fraction of B. Okay. So finally, if you take the integration, obviously you understand. So it will become what? Free energy at constant temperature and pressure only, not dz. Z at constant temperature and pressure is equal to mu A xa plus mu B xb. So this is the expression of free energy when temperature and pressure are constant. Right? When temperature and pressure are constant, the free energy only depends upon the chemical potential you can see and mole fractions. Okay. On the two component. Now this part we already have covered. Again, I want to recall this one. Free energy per mole versus composition curve, right? So these are two different plots. This is first plot and this is the plot 2. So in the first plot, same, free in the y-axis we have free energy per mole. In the x-axis we have composition, and composition is in term of xb, fraction of b, okay? Because this is the pure component A and this end is the pure component B. So obviously the composition axis will be xb, fraction of b, okay? So you can see that suppose this is a phase alpha. You want to draw, suppose this is a solid solution alpha, you want to draw the free energy per mole versus composition curve. So obviously it will be an inverted parabola. So you can see this is an inverted parabola, okay? So this is an inverted parabola, and you can see this part is showing you mu naught A and this part is mu naught B. Free energy of the pure component A, free energy of the pure component B. But the moment they are forming a solution, you can see the free energy is decreasing, right? That is very interesting, okay? And we can draw a tangent, if you remember. We can draw a tangent. Suppose here I have chosen a composition that is xb dash. Xb dash, this is the composition, xb dash. So I can draw a projection up to this curve, and at this point I want to draw a tangent. So this is the tangent drawn to that particular composition, okay? So then it will cut or it will intersect the pure A here, it will intersect the pure B here. So this point become the chemical potential of A and this point become the chemical potential of B. So you can simply write mu A at a composition of xb dash. Similarly, you can write here mu B xb dash, okay? So this is a free energy curve, chemical potential, everything you can determine like this, fine, by using a plot. Similarly, suppose you have two phases together, alpha and gamma, okay? So if you have two phases, alpha and gamma, similarly, you can draw free energy per mole versus composition curve. Again, this y-axis is free energy per mole. This x-axis is showing you the composition axis in term of xb. So this is a pure A, this is pure B, and okay. And this one is the free energy curve for alpha, and this one is free energy curve for gamma. Okay. So now, if you remember, there is a common tangent rule, right? You can draw a common tangent which will intersect both curves. So this is the common tangent. This is the common tangent which is intersecting both phases, alpha and gamma. Okay, and this point are equilibrium composition. If you remember, this point and this point will show you the equilibrium composition. And this also intersect pure A this common tangent intersect P or A, this common tangent intersect P or B. So where it intersect P or A, that is the chemical potential, and where it intersect B, that is the chemical potential. But since you have two phases, alpha, here I have written G alpha, here this is the gamma, right? G gamma. So it means at this point, chemical potential of A in alpha phase will be equal to chemical potential of A in gamma phase, which is the equilibrium condition, stability condition, right? Similarly here, chemical potential of B in alpha phase will be equal to chemical potential of B in gamma phase. Now, quasi-chemical theory of solution for delta H mix. So now the question comes, as I told, for a ideal solution, delta H mix is equal to 0. So why it is 0, we'll see soon. You know, I think those people who have studied thermodynamics, uh, they know these things. Huh? But for a real solution, delta H mix is not equal to 0. That has certain values. Huh? And on what factor they are depending on, we'll see that. And that is given by this concept, quasi-chemical theory of solution. So quasi-chemical theory of solution tells about the delta H mix, how delta H mix is coming into picture. Okay. So what is that exactly? So to explain this, we need to draw a diagram. You can draw a figure where you can show two components. You are mixing two components. A component, suppose one component is A and the component is B. They are two pure components. You are mixing them and you are making a solution out of that. So this is the situation you can see. Okay, before moving into the, let us discuss about this. Chemical potential can be expressed for two component system. Okay, so now mu A is the chemical potential of A, mu B is the chemical potential of B. How we can express the chemical potential? So mu A is equal to G naught A plus RT ln XA. In thermodynamics, you have gone through this equation, I remember. Mu B is equal to G naught B plus RT ln XB, right? So G naught A, G naught B are the free energy of the pure component, or you can say chemical potential. Some people write mu A is equal to mu naught A plus RT ln XA. Mu B is equal to mu naught B plus RT ln XB, where XA and XB are the mole fractions, and you know the temperature and gas constant. Okay. So you have to remember these expressions, huh? Chemical potential of A and chemical potential of B. Now we know what I have told, that delta H mix is equal to delta G mix is equal to delta H mix minus T delta H mix. We know the expression, right? But delta G mix will be equal to minus T delta H mix when it is an ideal solution. Why? Because delta H mix will become 0 for an ideal solution. So delta G mix is equal to minus T delta H mix. Anybody remember what is delta H mix here? Instead of delta H mix, what we can write? I need an answer from you. Here delta S mix is what? Delta S mix is nothing but that is configurational entropy. You have to remember that. You are mixing things, right? So instead of delta S mix, you can write delta S configuration. Okay. So for a real solution, we know that delta H mix is not equal to 0. So we have to find out what is then delta H mix for a real solution. What is the expression of that? We'll see. So to that, so you can see, I have made a solution of A and B. So this is A atom, this is B atom. Suppose this is A metal and this is B metal atoms, right? You mix them, and upon mixing, they are forming a solution. You can see this is the kind of arrangement I have shown. This is the kind of arrangement I have shown, so that we can see what are the different bonds present in that solution. So obviously, when we have pure A, we have only AA bond. When we have pure B, we have only pure BB bond. But the moment you are mixing A and B, so what will happen? There will be three type of bonds will be present. Bond between AA, bond between BB, and bond between AB. So these are the three type of bonds present, right? So you can see this is, I have shown you AA bond. Again, this is AA bond, you can say, right? And this bond is AB bond, and this bond is BB bond. So in the solution, you have three types of bond between AA, bond between BB, bond between AB. So here bond are present between, already I have told you this one. Okay, fine. So now what is the bond strength? So you can express the bond strength in form of epsilon A, epsilon BB, epsilon AB. So epsilon A is the bond strength between A atoms, epsilon AB is the bond strength between AB atoms, and epsilon BB is nothing but the bond strength between BB atoms. Okay. So these are three types of bond, three type of bond strength. Now, total bond energy of the solution if you want to find out. So total energy of the solution if you want to find out, then that is given by E, which is nothing but this is the expression you have to remember. So total energy of the solution, total bond energy basically, total bond energy of the solution is equal to E, that is equal to Na epsilon A plus Nbb epsilon Bb plus Nab epsilon Ab, where NAA are nothing but the number of bonds between AA. NBB are number of bonds between BB. And AB are the number of bonds between AB. Okay. Just then, okay, delta H mix is equal to, so finally, if you want to find out the expression of delta H mix, so delta H mix is equal to total bond energy of the solution, that is E, minus bond energy between AA minus bond energy between BB. You can see delta H mix is equal to E minus EAA minus EBB. So this is the total bond energy of the solution minus bond energy between AA minus bond energy between BB. Okay, so you can write like this. So we can further write delta H mix as delta H mix is equal to E, which is the energy of the bond energy of the solution, minus N naught E epsilon A minus N naught epsilon BB. So the question is, what is this? From here, from this expression, I can write this expression. You can see E is here, E is here, fine. But what is this and this? So EA become N naught epsilon A, EBB become N naught epsilon BB. Okay, so N naught is what? N naught is the Avogadro's number, right? Because we know that when we are dealing with 1 mole of solution, or 1 mole of material is there, so that is Avogadro's number, right? So 1 mole is equal to Avogadro's number. So these are the Avogadro's number into bond strength. We have to find out what is NAA, NBB, and NAB for binary solution. We have a binary solution of A and B. So what is NAA, NBB, and NAB, right? Now, assuming the number of bonds is proportional to mole fraction, this is very important. Again, this is an assumption you are taking. We are assuming that the number of bond is proportional to the mole fraction of AB type bonds. So then NA can be written as total number of A atoms times mole fraction of A times coordination number. So these 3 points are important. So NAA depends upon total number of A atoms multiplied with mole fraction of A multiplied with coordination number. Right? Coordination number, you people know, that is the number of nearest neighboring atoms, you can say. Suppose you consider any atoms surrounding that atom, how many number of atoms are present? That is the coordination number, right? Similarly, I can write NAA is equal to N naught XA Z. Okay, N naught is the Avogadro's number, right? And XA is the mole fraction of A, Z is the coordination number. Similarly, you can write NBB. NBB is equal to N naught XB Z. NAB is equal to N naught XA and Z. Okay. So these are the expressions. Now to get delta H mix, first substitute the value of NBB, NAA, NAB in equation 1. So what is the equation 1? This is the equation 1, right? Bond energy of the solution. So in bond energy of solution, we have to replace this or substitute these values NA, NBB, NAB, and we got an expression. And we have the second equation, this one, right? So finally, after getting the value of E, we can substitute the value of E here to get delta H mix. So what we get finally, we end up with this kind of expression. So delta H mix is equal to omega XA XB. You have to remember For a regular solution or for a real solution, this delta H mix is equal to omega XA XV. Omega is actually an interaction parameter. You have to remember. What is omega? Omega is interaction parameter. And XA XB are the mole fractions of A and B, right? So what is actually this omega interaction parameter? That is given by 2 N naught Z in whole bracket epsilon AB minus this whole bracket epsilon A plus epsilon BB by 2. This is the omega. Z is the coordination number, N is the Avogadro number, and these are the bond strength, if you remember, right? And since we know for ideal solution delta H mix is equal to 0, we can write this one. This is very interesting. We know that for a ideal solution delta H mix is equal to 0. So it is epsilon AB minus half epsilon AA plus epsilon BB is equal to 0. Or simply we can write epsilon AB is equal to half epsilon AA plus epsilon BB. Or in other way, we can say for ideal solution, bond strength between AB is average sum of bond energy between AA and BB bond, right? So we can simply say no significant change in bond energy occurs when we mix A and B. So when you are mixing A and B and it is forming an ideal solution, so there will be no significant change in the bond energy. Okay, that is the thing. Similarly, you can say since delta H mix for real solution is not equal to 0, so bond energy between AB will not be same with A and BB, right? That means in a simple way, you can say if you are mixing two components and they are forming ideal solution, then bond energy are basically equal for A, BB and AB, kind of, because bond strength between AB is equal to bond strength between AA plus bond strength between BB by 2, right? But for a real solution, the bond strength between AB is different from that of AA and BB. So you can simply write bond strength between AB is not equal to half of this bond strength between AA plus BB. So for real solution, delta H mix depends upon what? Omega. And it depends upon mainly the bond energy between AA, BB and AB. So you understood how delta H mix is coming into picture for a real solution. It basically depends upon the bond energy between AA, BB and AB. And due to that, an interaction parameter is coming omega, right? So for a real solution, delta H mix depends upon omega, and that omega depends upon the bond energy between AA, BB and AB. And also on coordination number, obviously, because we have shown you coordination number, you can see this one. Sorry, this Z coordination number, right? Which depends upon the crystal structure. Because if you have an FCC crystal structure, then coordination number is 12. If you have BCC, then it is 8. If you have simple giving, it is 6, like that. So omega depends upon the coordination number and bond strength. So this part is the bond strength and this part is the coordination number. So omega interaction parameter basically depend upon the coordination number and also depend upon the bond strength between AA, BB and AB. And obviously that means delta H mix depends upon this omega. In this way you can say. So finally, for real solution, delta H mix will be what? So delta G mix for real solution, delta G mix will be what? So delta G mix for a regular solution or real solution will be equal to delta H mix minus T delta S mix. And delta H mix minus T delta S mix means instead of mix, you can write delta S configuration as I told. Then you can write delta H mix means omega XA XV plus RT XA ln XA plus XV ln XV. Right? This is already we know this earlier equations from other equations, you know this formula, right? So now free energy of the real or regular solution can be written as G regular is equal to G naught A XA plus Z naught B XB plus delta G mix regular, and delta G mix regular is this one. So simply we can substitute. So G naught A XA plus Z naught B XB plus omega XA XB plus RT XA ln XA plus XB ln XB. So this is the final expression of free energy of a regular solution or real solution, right? So main important part is the delta H mix, which is omega XA XB. And you remember this is This is the for free energy of what? Free energy of that particular mechanical mixing. Free energy of due to mechanical mixing, and this is the free energy due to what? Solid solution formation. Now delta G regular solution versus composition plot at low and high temperature. So here here we have taken two temperature. One is low temperature, one is high temperature, and we want to find out delta G regular solution versus composition. Okay, so just have a look. So now there is a term called omega, which is nothing but the interaction parameter, which basically depend upon the bond strength and depends upon the coordination number. Anyways, so suppose there is a situation where this interaction parameter omega is less than 0 or less than equal to 0, you can say. Since omega will be less than 0, that means delta H mix will be also. What will happen if omega will be 0? What happens to delta H mix? It will be, if omega will be less than 0, then delta H mix will be also less than 0, negative value delta H mix. And if this is the situation, if omega is less than 0, then delta H mix is inverted parabola. Obviously, just have a look. This is the delta G regular versus composition, and this plot is for low temperature. This plot is for high temperature. We want to draw a plot between delta G regular versus composition, right? So since omega is less than 0, that means delta H mix will be less than 0, negative. So that means obviously delta H mix will be an inverted parabola. You can see that this is an inverted parabola. I can write delta H mix, right? And okay, can you people tell me how will be the curve for delta S mix? It will be inverted parabola or just opposite of that? Delta S mix. Can anybody answer about this? Delta X mix.
Inverted parabola.
Inverted parabola. Can you tell me why it will be inverted parabola? Delta S mix, I am asking. You want to show delta S mix or delta S configuration in free energy versus composition plot. It will be inverted parabola. How? Anybody want to comment on this? Delta S mix, delta S configuration. Can configurational entropy will be negative? You have two components. Can configurational entropy will be negative? Tell me, yes or no? Ashirvad, you are there? Can you answer this? Guys, delta S mix or delta S configuration, configurational entropy can never be negative. And entropy can never be negative. Either it will be 0 or it will be positive. Right? You people are getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how will be the curve? It will be inverted parabola or just opposite to that? It will be normal parabola, not inverted. But I have shown here as an inverted parabola here, you can see. But why? Just have a look. Because I have multiplied with negative t, right? You are getting my point? Here it is minus t delta S mix. So minus t delta X mix will be inverted, obviously. So only delta H mix means it will be normal parabola. But the moment you are multiplying with minus t, it will become negative. So it will be again inverted parabola. So you can see if omega will be less than 0, then delta H mix will be less than 0, negative. So this is the curve for delta H mix. Now delta S mix will be normal parabola, but the moment you are multiplied with minus t, it will become inverted parabola. And temperature point is there, that's why it is going downward, more going downward, right? And finally, we know that delta G mix will depend upon what? It depend upon delta H mix and minus T delta S mix. So obviously delta G mix will be also negative parabola, inverted parabola. You people are getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, that's good. So this is for low temperature. If the temperature will be high, how will be the curve? The curve will be same, completely same. But what are the changes? Can anybody figure it out? Any changes here? When omega will be less than 0, the curves are like this: delta H mix curve, minus T delta S mix curve, and delta G mix curve at low temperature. But what happened at high temperature? The curve will remain same, right? But there is some changes. What are the changes? Temperature is higher, so delta H mix will remain same nearly, right? But temperature is high means minus T delta S mix will be moving more downwards, right? More negative. Similarly, delta G mix will also go downwards because delta G mix is delta H mix minus T delta S mix, right? So this is the changes. So when omega is less than equal to 0, we don't see much difference in ideal and regular solution, basically. Anyways, so this is done. Now there is a case 2. This is very interesting. Now case 2 is omega is greater than 0. Interaction parameter is now greater than 0. So delta H mix will be what? It will become greater than 0 or less than 0?
Greater than 0.
Greater than 0, obviously. It will be positive. That means if omega is positive, delta H mix will be also positive, right? So you can see, if you want to draw a plot between delta G regular solution versus composition, so what you need to do? You need to take positive half and negative also. Both things should be there, positive and negative. And this is 0, right? So obviously, so delta H mix will be positive. So delta H mix will be a parabola. You can see, right? This is the curve for delta H mix. Why? Because omega is greater than 0. Positive. Omega is positive means interaction parameter is positive. So delta H mix will be positive. So it will be a positive parabola. Right? And thing is what? Yeah, minus T delta S configuration. So delta S configuration is always positive. But the moment you are multiplying it with minus T, so it will become inverted parabola. You can see this is the inverted parabola. Minus T delta S mix. So and we know that delta G mix is nothing but delta H mix minus T delta S mix. So delta G mix is positive, whereas minus T delta S mix is negative. So delta G mix will be like this. This is very interesting actually. It is fine. For delta G mix will go downward first, then reaches to at this point, then again it rises up and go to this point. So that means in pure A reach phase and pure B reach phase, delta G mix is less, right? But at this composition, in between this composition, delta G mix is higher, positive value. But at this point, delta G mix is negative kind of thing. At pure end A, pure end B, delta G mix is more negative. But in between, delta G mix is positive. Right? So this is for low temperature. Now the condition is when temperature is high. So what will happen? Curve will remain nearly same. First, delta H mix will be positive because omega is positive. Delta H mix will be positive. So a parabola is there, normal parabola. But now minus T delta S mix will be more negative because temperature is high. So it will go more downward. So since it will go more downward, so finally what will happen? Minus T delta S mix will be dominating one. So what will happen? So delta G mix will be completely inverted parabola. You people are getting my point? Why for this one is like this, but at high temperature, why delta G mix is completely inverted parabola? Because of this dominating factor, minus T delta S mix, because temperature is high. But low temperature, this is the situation. Okay, anyways, mathematical representation of chemical potential can be written as mu A is equal to del G by del Na at constant pressure and temperature, where Na is the number of mole of A. Okay, we know that free energy at constant pressure and temperature equal to mu A XA plus mu B XB. Chemical potential of A is mu A, that is equal G naught A plus RT ln where A is the activity of A. Okay, activity in the solution. Similarly, chemical potential of B is mu B is equal to G naught B plus RT ln AB, where AB is the activity of B in the solution. Okay, so here we have replaced mole fraction in terms of activity. That is very interesting. You can see the earlier expressions. Okay, earlier expressions are in form of mole fractions. Chemical potential of A with respect to mole fractions. But here we are writing activity. Let's have a look. Mu B is equal to G naught B plus RT ln AB. AB is the activity of B. Here mu A is equal to G naught A plus RT ln A. Activity of A. So you can express the chemical potential either in terms of mole fractions or in terms of activity. Okay, I'll stop here after this. You can stop the recording.